Welcome to a special edition of The Balancing Act. Today, we're dedicating the show to reclaim your life. Our focus is to shine a light on those who are working so diligently to overcome addiction, whether it's drug, alcohol, or maybe both. Now, the journey can be long and hard, but change is possible. Joining me this morning to kick off our informative educational series is Dr. Maureen Esposito, Executive Vice President of Clinical Services at Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad we're talking about this again because, you know, as difficult it is, Dr. Esposito, it's possible to do it.
It is very possible. A lot of people worry so much about addiction and getting well. There is hope.
And there is hope this morning, and that's why over the next half hour, you're going to meet those who have hit rock bottom, but with help have not only survived, but thrived. The Balancing Act starts right now. Dr. Esposito, over the next several months, we're going to delve into the problem of addiction and really look into the 12-step process, which is really important. Help me understand it.
It's very important to look at the 12 steps. We'll be looking at all of the various things that go into treatment, and the 12 steps is really the basis of recovery.
And the first step, and you have taught me so much, is not only admitting that you have the problem, but making the call. Isn't that just oh so important?
Well, I think recognizing it is the most important part. Then, of course, once you realize there's a problem, you have to do something about it. And to make that call sometimes is the very hardest thing to do. And yet, that is the thing that leads to hope and leads to healing.
And receive the help from a team there that really is waiting with open arms.
Exactly. We have a top-notch team, medical people, psychological people, spiritual people, so that they can get a real well-rounded form of treatment.
And I met so many of your clients, but I'd like to touch upon two gentlemen, Tom and Josh, who had the courage to share their story with me. And I'd like our viewers to hear what happened, what they did, and where they are. Can we do that?
Great.
Let's listen.
By 21, pretty much, I had nobody in my life. I was living on the streets in the winter with the clothes on my back, no money in my pocket. It's pretty much just me.
I think in college I started kind of normally how most kids in college do, just kind of drinking, going to parties. But the party kind of never stopped for me. Drinking excessively, daily, smoking marijuana daily, and then experimenting with hallucinogens, acid, cocaine occasionally, experimenting with heroin occasionally, and that's kind of how I spent the majority of my time in college.
Both were sinking deeper every day.
So let's talk about that road to recovery. When you decide now you need that help, it was tough.
It was tough. It was the hardest part for me was making the decision to make an attempt in recovery. The detox was a no-brainer, but once I got into detox and physically got better, I didn't want to go into recovery. I didn't want to go to treatment. Looking back now, I can realize it's because I was scared to death.
Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center changed their lives.
Going to treatment, I followed suggestions, what they told me to do. They helped me get better. Working with a therapist, having a medical team there to get my physical state back, and getting better, working with them is what built that foundation so I could actually live sober.
They both have come a long way. You hear this a lot, don't you?
We hear many, many stories, and this is a rather typical story from these two gentlemen. And they had to actually go through detox prior to coming into treatment.
How does that work?
When a person calls, they will be determined if they have to go to detox. Most heroin addicts and alcoholics need to go to detox, so they're medically stabilized, and then once that happens, they're able to come to treatment and begin that whole entire process of recovery.
And when they begin that process, what does that look like?
Well, of course, our theme is one day at a time, so it's not too overwhelming. If people think of trying to recover and be sober for 5 years or 10 years, it's very frightening and very overwhelming. So we look at the process as one day at a time. They're welcomed in, they meet a therapist, and they start to work on the issues that maybe started them using in the first place.
And I can only imagine, we heard from two different gentlemen, kind of like the same story, but I would guess that their approach for each one has to be different.
We really tailor-make the treatment to the individual. So we have, young women, older women, young college students, we have middle-aged businessmen, and so it's very important to take a look at the individual and give the care that they need that will be customized to their actual lifestyle.
And no doubt, Dr. Esposito, it takes courage to take that initial step, and for anyone out there that may say, I can't do it, what would you tell them?
People are very, very frightened. And if they don't have the courage to call themselves, maybe a parent will call, maybe a spouse will call, maybe a friend will call. And the receiving end of the call will be someone from Transformations that is very, very well schooled in addiction and very, very empathetic. And I think empathy cannot be stressed enough.
And something I did appreciate a lot at your facility is to see not only a team, again, that's waiting with open arms, but a team that really understands, because many of your professional members there have actually been through this as well.
Exactly, and I think that speaks highly of the facility. And many, many times people really like to deal with professionals that have been there and done that.
And we're going to meet several of those professionals coming up in the show. Great people at Transformations who are really changing lives here. More coming up when this special edition of the Balancing Act returns. Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Esposito, I want to talk to you now. I'm a parent, I'm a mom, and as a parent, I can only imagine how tough it is for anyone to watch their child, female or male, go through and become an addict.
It is very difficult. It's very painful. And when clients come in, their parents are suffering almost as much as they are. And so we really treat the entire family. We'd like to look at the person within the context of their family, how they got to be where they are, and how the family really affects their recovery.
And I've seen it firsthand with a friend of ours who unfortunately has become an alcoholic, and the family is just suffering day in, day out, and just holding on to hope that something will give here.
Exactly. Well, we're talking about change. And so when someone comes into treatment, it's all about change. What needs to change? What has happened in their lives that really requires a great deal of change? What the families sometimes don't realize is they have to change as well. And they have to become extremely patient while this person is going through the process. So treatment may be 30 days or so, but recovery takes a lifetime.
And speaking of patience, I'd like to share a story with our viewers. Ben. We had a chance to sit down with Ben. He lost his entire family because he has been an alcoholic for many, many years. Let's listen. Ben, you've been struggling with alcohol for nearly 25 years.
Yes.
So much has happened in that time. Would you say losing your family has been just the ultimate worst?
Yes. They talk about the loneliness of the alcoholic, and to live alone and know your family is in a different state because they can't deal with living with you anymore. It takes you to a whole new low. Everybody has their own bottom, but that for me was the ultimate bottom.
That's why Ben came here to Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center to get the help he needed. He started an intensive program to get clean and sober.
Ben, if your wife and daughter and 2 boys are watching this, what would you tell them right now?
I would tell them that I love them, and I hope to be there for them someday in the capacity that they need me to be there. And I would thank them for their patience.
No doubt alienation is universal here.
It is. I think addiction really separates people from their families. It separates them from themselves. And so it's very, very important to have a team of people around you that can really help you through this process. Not only your family, but the recovering community, which will include Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and all those self-help groups.
And something I do want to note, Doctor, is at Transformations, the family isn't alienated from the client. And that's important to note, that you don't just say goodbye, you bring them together there as well. Explain that to me.
Exactly. They're a very, very important part of the recovery process. We invite them in. If they're local, they can come in and have family sessions with their therapist. We have an entire family weekend where people learn about addiction. They can share their experiences with other families that are going through the same things. And of course, they'll be with their loved ones, you know, in a group setting. So it's very important for the families. Now, some families are not able to come to the facility. And what happens is we will have phone conferences with them. So they are never left out of the loop. And they are really educated and informed every step of the way.
And they are also still connected with God if they need to be, right?
Well, we have a spiritual program, and it's called the Christian program. So we have our population divided into a category of those that want a faith-based program, those that want a secular program. We have the over 30, the age 30 crowd. We have the under age 30 crowd. And the needs are very different in each of those groups. We also separate many times the gender groups. Women may not want to talk about sexual issues with mixed company. They don't want to speak in front of men about very important details. Men as well who have been sexually abused do not want to reveal that in front of women. So we have male therapists dealing with the men. We have female therapists dealing with the women. And the women that are in that age category, over 30, can really relate to those that have children, that have careers, that have, you know, problems that really relate to that age population. Now, the younger ones also have their own needs. And in that category, we see a lot of young people that haven't completed high school. They might not know how to do laundry. They might know how to make a bed or cook. And so we really teach life skills for that younger crowd that really, really needs that.
Doctor, I think it's important to note here that Transformations does not discriminate against anyone.
Exactly. Transformations is a very inclusive organization. We have a program for gay and lesbian and people that are questioning their sexuality. And since there's so much judgment in the world about sexuality, it's very important for clients to come and feel accepted and nurtured so that they can really explore the issues that they have and really take a handle on addiction.
When we come back, Doctor, we're going to talk about a story of hope. It is amazing. You're going to want to hear this woman's story. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When you're active, you don't think about anybody else. All you can think about is yourself and, you know, and whatever you need to do to get that next drug. I then had that moment of clarity that they talk about where I realized, like, I don't want to continue doing this. Like, it's snowing outside, and for me to live on, you know, the streets, like, do I even really know how to do that? You know, like, I'm gonna get way worse if I decide to do that. And I decided to pick up the phone and ask for help. Now I'm a sponsor, and I'm also an alumni coordinator for Transformations. I've been here for 2 years. And it's the best job ever. I get to help people do exactly what I did. And I couldn't ask for a better life. I'm still married, and we have an apartment and a puppy, and he's like my child. So I just love life.
Now, Helena has an amazing new outlook on sobriety.
She does. She's really the poster girl for treatment. This is a woman who came in very debilitated and has put her life back together with the help of Transformations.
And she's actually helping others at Transformations
Exactly.
to reclaim their lives.
Exactly.
Tell me about her role there.
Yeah, she is the head of our alumni program. And the alumni program is extremely important. Once treatment is done, the hard work really begins. And Helena keeps in touch with our clients. And so that in the case of someone maybe relapsing or slipping, because there's no judgment, very easily they'll be able to pick up the phone, talk to Helena, and if they need to come back to treatment, they're welcomed with open arms. No judgment and no embarrassment, really.
So normally the program will last how long, Doctor?
Usually it's 30 days. You know, after they've had detox, they'll come in for a 30-day program. They live with us. They'll eat with us. They'll go to meetings. They'll have a variety of groups. And of course, all of the groups is where all of that takes place. All the magic takes place, I like to say. And in that, they will deal with their addiction. They'll deal with family of origin issues. They'll deal with perhaps depression or anxiety issues and so forth. And really what it is change. It's learning a new way of life. So we go to the beach, we have barbecues, we take them to the movies, we go bowling, we go to miniature golf. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's really about taking a hard look at the difficult issues, but also learning how to enjoy life again. Many of the clients have been using for so long that they forget how to have fun. We also have an outpatient program that deals with equine, which is the horse farm, and that is absolutely beautiful.
And in your opinion, how does that help them?
The horses are sort of matched up with the clients, and if you have a very reticent or frightened, shy client, many times they will be gravitating towards a horse with the same sort of disposition. So they learn how to really engage with the horse and start to build their confidence once again. And again, it's a fun atmosphere, so it's very, very important.
And doctor, what about the client that maybe after all that still has a relapse?
Well, we look at treatment and we look at recovery as a process. We look at it as a journey. And many times families think that, go to treatment for 30 days and you're cured. There is no cure. This is managing a disease that is very deadly, but it can be something that can be managed very, very successfully. So if someone should slip, and it happens on occasion, they can come right back into treatment.
And we hope this is helping our viewers out there as well. Final thoughts right after this. Doctor, we've covered so much in this half hour. There's so much more to say, so much more to learn, but any final thoughts right now for anyone out there that may be suffering from an addiction, may know someone who's addicted?
Transformations is in the business of changing lives and restoring hope. And I think that's probably the biggest message that I'd like to give your audience today. So my final thought is really to take that courage, have some hope, give a call, and if nothing else, get that information.
And I know for a fact you've seen many clients who have taken the journey and are doing great today.
Exactly. We call them all little miracles, and it happens every day.
Thank you so much for
what you do. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for your team at Transformations, for you. God bless you all. Our special series will continue in the upcoming months as we introduce you to more of the Transformations team, authorities in the industry, thought leaders, plus those who are going through the 12 steps. And Doctor, more information on the 12 steps, where can our viewers go?
They can go to our website, transformationstreatment.com.
Transformationstreatment.com.
Great.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you. And be sure to head to our website, thebalancingact.com, for a link to Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center and all the resources they offer. Thanks for joining us today, and remember, find your balance.